Hello everyone, Gabe the person here, back for another video, and it's gonna be a very different video. Now, I've had some things just going through my head past week or so, and I need to talk about it. So, guess what? I could edit this video, or I can make it a podcast and not need to edit this video. So what do you think I'm gonna do? It's a podcast. Woohoo! Give me title ideas in the description. Now, this is the second time I've had to record this. I accidentally deleted the video, and then I spent the last 30 minutes dealing with a virus, and that's a whole other reason, and we're not going to talk about that unless you want me to talk about that. If you want me to talk about that, that's next week's talk. Anyways, I'm just going to start talking. I'll see where we get. I'll try to stay around where I was talking last time, but yeah. So, the topic I want to discuss is, why do we prefer certain movies over other things? This all started because last Saturday I was filming a So I Watched Amphibia. Now, first of all, spoilers because, well, not spoilers for the show, but because I'm letting you know that I made this. Sorry, I can't do it. Guess what I'm doing next time? You know what it is now. Anyways, I filmed that video, and after filming that, I'm like, I just really like this show because it feels so small. Like, I enjoy the MCU, but it's so big, and everyone likes it, and there's just so much where I can't enjoy it as much. But then, I made my video about the Guardians of Galaxy Volume 3, why it's going to be so good, and I'm like, dang, these movies are good. But that's part of the MCU, and it was the same thing when I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. And then I watched a new Marvel show. I don't remember what it's called. It's animated. But I'm like, dang, this is good. So, what I'm trying to say is there are so many different things that I like. But at the time of watching, I'm thinking, this is the best thing ever. This is the best thing ever. Even though I know it's not. But it's like degrading other things in my mind. And/or, another example. While I was watching it, I thought, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. And I still do, but I just don't feel that same hype for it because I feel like my hype for Andor was at the highest during the prison arc. But ever since that, it's just been a bit lower. And now, even though I can acknowledge that it's amazing, I don't feel that hype for it that like, oh my god, I feel so excited about this. It's so cool. Now I'm like, yeah, that was really great. Move on to another thing. So I want to discuss, why is that? So, yesterday, here's one of the things I found most important was the circumstance of when you're watching it, how you're watching it, all of that stuff. There are some shows which I think, there are formats you need to watch it in. For me, I cannot watch a sitcom just like slowly, week after week, like I guess how it would air normally, or if it was released on a Disney Plus schedule. I need to see it all at once, or else it gets so slow, so boring, and it's like, oh my god, why am I tuning in? Why can't I watch? That's a thing I need to binge. But a show like Andor, that's a show which I really enjoy having it be a week by week. One of my favorite things about watching WandaVision was that week-to-week theorizing. That's, when Disney Plus first came out, I was talking to one of my friends and like, God, he was like, yeah, he wishes that everything came out at once. He likes to binge it. But for me, I need to discuss it. And having that whole week to discuss it, maybe make a video, maybe talk with friends, that makes it more enjoyable for me. That's how, like, shows which are focused on the story are. I feel like a sitcom, it's more focused on the characters, care less about what the story is. You're there for the characters. I mean, every week it's a different story, which can be half-baked. But if the characters are good there, you'll still like it, I feel. So, that's a big part. How it's being, what type of show is it? Also, for Stranger Things, if I need to watch season 1 week by week by week on a Disney Plus basis when that came out, season 1, okay, now wait year and a half. Season 2, week by week by week. Season 3 specifically, week by week by week. Oh my god, I would have lost my mind. That tacky romance for 50 minutes, next week more, and then that would have been painful. Season 4, I just enjoyed season 4 as a binge thing with those 2 episodes. I think that was a great idea, having those last 2 episodes. But my point is, not all shows should be viewed the same, and I feel like for me to really get excited about a show, I need to view it under the right conditions. Monsters at Work. When that first came out, it's a sitcom show. I watched it week by week by week. I was pulling my hair out about how frustrated I was with it. Episode 7, I literally ended halfway through. I'm like, I can't take any more of this. But now, when I watched it all in the span of 5 days, I loved that show. It's amazing. That is something which just shows that for you to get really excited about it, you need to watch it in the right way. Amphibia, again. While I was watching it, it was a little bit here a night, a little bit here a night. Some days on the weekend I'll splurge and I'll get to watch 4 or 5 episodes. I loved that. But you gotta watch these shows in the right way, or else you won't enjoy them as much. The plots will get repetitive, you just forget about it if it's too lore-based, stuff like that. You gotta watch it in the right way. That's a big part for me. Another thing is, you need to have a connection with someone about it. For me, I need to talk with someone about a show, a series, a movie. For me, just to get rid of all this energy. I feel like when I'm at my most hyped for a show, the only way I can get more excited, and how I do get more excited, is talking. That's why I made this whole channel, the Fictional Fanatics channel. It's because I need to talk about this stuff, and my sister's not watching The Frog Show. My friend's not watching The Frog Show. Talk about it here. I don't know anyone who's watched The Queen's Gambit, beside from a few people who I don't really talk with much a few years ago. So I posted a video about that. Knives Out. All these things, I need to talk about it. And just being able to put it out there, that helps so much. When The Mandalorian first came out, part of the reason I feel like why I found that first season so amazing, why I loved it so much, here's one of my memories with it. That first Friday after Disney Plus came out, we now have 2 episodes. Me and my friends were just there talking, 1, about the episode, but 2, we were also talking about, okay, how the episode's going to get released. We got one on Tuesday, now we're getting one on Friday. Are we going to get one on Monday? And then it doesn't make sense. But that was so fun. I remember after episode 1 of Mandalorian came out, I saw the first half at night and I needed to go to bed because it was school day. Next morning, I woke up super early, watched the last 15 minutes, found out about Baby Yoda, went to talk to all my friends about it. That was amazing. I don't think I could have loved that show nearly as much if I wasn't talking about it week after week. And then, at that same time in the Star Wars community, The Rise of Skywalker was coming out. But still, everyone was just in love with The Mandalorian, and that was so cool. I feel like same thing with Endgame. I don't find it a good movie, but going to the theater, being excited with people about it, hearing Iron Man say, "I am Iron Man" in theater, I love that memory. I enjoy the movie, but that's why I'm excited for it. Not because it's great, but because I loved that experience. Being able to talk with someone about a series, a movie, a show, that is just such a big thing for me. And maybe it's not like this for all people, but I know for me, I need to be able to tell people why I like this, to analyze, to theorize with someone. Even though with these videos, I don't get many comments, I hardly get any. Still, just being able to put this out there, hear my voice, and realize these thoughts while writing out the script, it makes me feel so much more connected to the story. And I feel like connection to the story is another big thing. It needs to feel similar to you in some way, somehow. Amphibia. One, the characters, I loved them. You need to have great characters, of course. That's a big thing. If you don't have characters that people can connect with, then it's really just based on, is your story interesting enough to keep people? And that's a lot harder than, are your characters likable? Likable characters, I feel like, is much easier to sell someone on. So yeah. Anyways, for Amphibia, I loved the characters. I was there for that reason. But also, the other reason I was there is it felt familiar to me. It reminded me of one of my favorite shows, Gravity Falls. I remember watching that with my sister, loving it. That reminded me of another thing. Familiarity is a big part, but also in Amphibia, there were aspects similar to me. Marcy, who's one of my favorite characters, is extremely similar to me in personality. And the story about Anne getting put into this world which is so different from where she is and needing to live there and adapt there, find new friends and all that, that's similar to me living in Mexico. So, having these aspects which are familiar to you, it's important, but it can't just also be super familiar. If everything is reminding you of something you've already seen, something you've already done, why are you watching it? It's also got to be different. It's got to be new. It's got to be exciting. And it doesn't need to be super new, super different. But it can't be a rehash of something that's done before. Think of the Disney live-action remakes. I don't think that even for the kids in 2019 who saw the live-action Dumbo, that's the only time they've seen Dumbo. 20 years down the line, are they going to become nostalgic for that movie? Like the people who saw Dumbo are nostalgic for the movie. I guess I should have used a better example like Beauty and the Beast or something. But anyways, the point is, if it's the same thing that you've already seen before, there's nothing new about it. Why would you get excited about it? For me to get really excited about something, it needs to be familiar. It needs to have that familiarity to draw me in, to keep me enticed. But the new stuff is what really excites me. I'm not excited because, oh, that character's like me. It's like, oh, that character's like me in this frog world. I'm using Amphibia a lot as an example, but I really like that show. Yeah, I think those are some aspects which are very important to getting your story to connect. Also, your story needs to be it also needs to have an aspect of timing, and I don't mean that as like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Well, I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how to explain it. It needs to you need to be watching it at the right time for you to get into it. I talked about how you watch it if you're binging it, but I also think you need to be watching it at the right time for you to really enjoy it. Lego Ninjago, I love that show. I really love that show. But if I started watching it today, I had never seen it before, not when I was 7, and I've been watching all this time. I just saw episode 1, because the pilot's not on Netflix for reasons. I just saw that. I don't think I'd like it as much. I'd still really like it, but I don't think it'd be as impactful to me. If I started watching Stranger Things, I don't know, 4 years ago, would I have liked it as much? Maybe I would have liked it more because all my friends were talking about it. I feel like timing on when you watch it is very important. Amphibia, I'm glad I watched it when I did because school was busy at that time. I had so much going on where every night I can just turn on the TV, watch some episodes with my familiar characters in this world as they do. Serialized stories, I guess. This episode of the week adventure thing. That was so good. Because I could just sit there, chill, and still watch a great show. But if it was this rapid iron show, like, we're doing this, now we're doing this, and this, and this, and lore, and all of this crazy stuff's happening all the time. I need to be so much more attentful and paying attention to every little thing, and it's just like, oh my god, my head would be exploding because I don't have the patience for that right now. I need some to unwind and relax, while still keeping me enjoyed with the show, and still being interesting. Amphibia, again, back to this, it has some incredible lore, but it gives to you little spoonfuls at a time. And then when you have your big climactic episodes where it's like everything's going down now, in those episodes, it's not like a big dump. It happens slowly throughout the course of the 20 minutes. It's amazing. So, to recap, because I don't think there's much more to talk about, your show needs to come out. You need to be watching it the right way for whatever it is. If it's this mystery show, maybe slowly, one episode a night, while not binging. You need to have it dosed to you at the right way. It needs to be, for mystery show, pretty fast so you can see all the plot points. I feel like if you had it week after week, it'd be harder to notice all the stuff. If it's action, mystery, maybe then better week so you can theorize. That's how you do that. It needs to be familiar. It needs to have aspects which remind you of something you like, something just familiar so you're there, but it needs to be different so you actually stay and you care about it. Because, again, if it's a rehash of something you've already seen, you'll probably prefer the thing you've originally seen. Because I just feel like nostalgia is so important to enjoying something. That's another thing, I guess. 20 years down the line, are you going to remember the best movie you've ever seen? Or are you going to remember some kind of low-quality Disney Channel movie, but you saw it with your family, all your friends know the show, you talked about it for a while? Which one are you going to remember more? I think it's going to be the one you watched with your family and spent all this time talking about with your friends. Not necessarily because it's the best thing ever, but because it was an enjoyable experience going back to my Endgame story. That's another thing. And you need to be watching it at the right time for you. For you to really care about something, it needs to line up where it's like just perfect happening and it's like, yeah, I love this. It fits me, my mood right now so perfectly. And it just needs to click with what's going on with you. I feel like those aspects are just so important to really caring about something. Because I don't think it's just new factor. I don't think why I was thinking, oh my god, Amphibia is so much, I enjoy it so much more than the MCU, is because I enjoyed it more than the MCU. I love the MCU. I love Amphibia. I'm not trying to compare them right now because that would be very hard. Right now I'm still saying Amphibia even though I'm like a week out from watching it. But what I'm trying to say is, it needs to just fit it's not nostalgia. Wait, what am I? Sorry, I tangent. What I'm trying to say is, because it's not recency bias, it's fitting your mood. It's got to fit with how you're feeling for you. That's why I feel like you like it so recently. Mandalorian, I rewatched it recently, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I still think it's a good show, but I didn't enjoy it as much, and I feel like that's because I wasn't in that same mood, that same feeling that I was in when I originally watched it. I was watching all the Disney Plus shows, and I'm like, oh my god, let me watch something new and original. And then I watched Amphibia, and it was amazing. But let's slow down. Mandalorian, I just didn't like it because I wasn't there talking with everyone. The internet wasn't going crazy about it. Baby Yoda. I know who Baby Yoda is. I know what happened. And it just ended up not being as much of an enjoyable experience. Still great, just not as enjoyable. But I think that's about it. We've discussed now why, at the very least, I hope you guys, or else you've just wasted your time, I'm sorry for that, but no you didn't, because you were listening to my amazing conversation. We know why I, and probably you, like a show, a movie, and how just to get it to feel perfect for you. So, anyways, once again, you got any ideas for the name of this podcast, let me know. Or even if you like the podcast, because if you don't like this type of video, then why would I continue making them? Because I like making them. Checkmate. Yeah. But seriously, let me know if you like it. If you do, give me title ideas, possibly topics. I have a few written down, but if you have a better one, I'll do it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure to watch it and tell your friends about it and share it with your mother. Bye now.